I don't know that I've ever been asked this, so I'm a little excited. How do you handle the stress of your job? How do you handle it?
Really? On what day? I have gone through a lot of journeys on stress management. I used to be so stressed out and maxed out, and I didn't know anything about where it was coming from and why it was happening. And I hit the wall after my first child was born and dealt with a season of anxiety and depression and just this spiritual desert, and I had no idea what hit me. And I think that was a result of chronic stress that I wasn't dealing with in a healthy way over time. I internalized it. I felt like I just had to be the hero. And I wasn't talking to people and telling them that, hey, I had a tough day. Actually, it ties back to when I was feeling like I was being an imposter and I was trying too hard. I was trying to please everybody. I was trying to know things that I didn't actually know, trying to impress people with things I didn't actually understand. And a lot of kind of negative relationships in that season of life that I should have let go of sooner, but they were giving me some artificial sense of significance, and I was letting those things have too much power over me. And so all that cumulative stress, I was flat on my back. And there was about a year of really figuring out, who am I? Why am I here? What does it look like to live a meaningful, fulfilled life that's not stressful? And so I think if we're getting super philosophical on this one, stress-free living looks like living in your sweet spot. I mean, I want to hear what you say on this, because when you're living in the thing that God made you to do, and every day you're doing work that just flows out of you, you really don't get that stress. Now, you get stressed like, oh, I got a little too many meetings and I overcommitted, but you can manage that. You can trim stuff back. But if you're stressed in your career all the time, that's not a time management thing. That's an indication that something in your soul is disconnected. You're not integrated fully into what you're here to do.
I'm so happy right now. I am so beyond happy with that answer. Because what you said at the end, I mean, that's what I'm teaching people in the Ken Coleman show. But, you know, not to be glib, he's exactly right, folks. If you're overwhelmed with the stress of your job, it's one of two things. And it's only one of two things. So let me be overly simplified here. It is either you are not in the right place, meaning you are not doing work that you were uniquely created to do. So that is your talent, what you do best, and what you live to do most. And so you're using the talent to do what you love to do most. So that's either one of the scenarios, or the other scenario is your perspective is so out of whack that you've completely lost touch with reality. Now, what I'm not saying, I want to make sure I don't get any hate mail. I'm not saying that anxiety is not real, and I'm not saying that the stress is not real. Both of those things are very, very real. But the source of the stress and the source of the anxiety are not real. Now, that's what I am saying. So, in that situation, what you have to do is do what I've learned how to do. I've got a couple guys in my life. Daniel's one of them. There's another guy named Jeremy. There's another guy named Bill. And if I'm feeling, let's just call it stress or anxiety or something, I can go to any one of these guys and present it. And every one of them, on some level, are going to go, dude, it's not what you think it is. Or it's really not that big a deal. You're fine. And what I have done is I have turned the voice of stress and anxiety and I've flipped it on its head. So when that happens to me, I simply try to find the silly in it. Now, well, what about this? If I said this to Bill, would he go, dude, get out of your head. You need to relax. You're way overthinking this. Daniel knows me well. This is very transparent here. He knows I'm an overanalyzer. We've had multiple talks where I can kind of be vulnerable and I'll say what I'm feeling and I'll say to him, dude, now this, you know my heart here, but this is going to sound immature. I even know that, but it is in the act of throwing something out, and then he processes it and he goes, well, let me tell you how I see it. And every time that has happened, what that is you simply going, that's a little silly. Now, you're not making fun of me. But I have learned to do that to myself. So you've got to know that the source of anxiety, back to what I said, and the source of stress are lies, and you have to expose them. But you're going to have to get real with yourself and go, I know I'm feeling this and thinking this, but that's not true, and Ken, expose it.
You're exactly right, and you're revealing a principle that's been talked about so much on this podcast. You take two things that these people have been on this podcast. You got Henry Cloud and The Power of the Other, which is exactly what you're outlining there. You got to have people in your life that when you're stressed, you go to them and they give you perspective. That's all that's happening.
That's exactly
They're looking in your blind spot and going, I see something you don't see.
That's exactly right.
Now you feel better. And then how many countless people have been on this podcast, just listen back through, have talked about deep work, getting into the flow. What do you have to do? You have to cut out the crap. Always on social media, always on TV, always on all this junk that's in the shallow places of life. on top of a demanding career, of course you're going to be stressed. If you're not creating space to breathe, to journal, to meditate, to pray, whatever your thing is, and it's all filled up with all these just little ding, ding, alert, check me now, text, you're going to be stressed. You're going to be chronically stressed throughout the day. So cut out the noise, take the white noise away, fill that space with some solitude and fill it with some friendships, so you got the power of the other working for you, and you got people around you. You're not going to feel stressed if you're doing that.
Really not. And to what you said, I don't get stressed. I look forward to my work.
Totally. I'm always glad it's Friday and Monday. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
You leave with an empty tank, but you're looking forward to coming back in if you're doing it right.